Welcome back to The Explainer. I'm honestly so thrilled for this one today because we are about to drastically expand your Spanish toolkit. We've already tackled how to talk about the past using AR verbs, right? But to really tell your stories, to really get into it, you need the whole picture. So today, we are conquering the past tense for ER and IR verbs. Let's get into it.
So let's kick things off with a super simple question. I want you to listen closely to this. ¿Qué comiste? ¿Qué comiste? That translates directly to what did you eat? Notice that ending on the word comiste? Well, that right there is your very first taste of an ER verb in the past tense.
Okay, here's our game plan for today. We've got expanding your past toolkit, the ER and IR twins, spelling quirks and tricks, el barquito chiquitito, and lastly, the magic of diminutives.
All right, part one, expanding your past toolkit. So you already know how to say things like caminé a la escuela, I walked to school. You already leveled up your toolkit with those AR verbs. But now it's time to jump to the next dimension. I want you to listen to these sentences and see if you can spot a repeating pattern right at the end of the action words. Okay, first up, comí una pizza deliciosa anoche. I ate a delicious pizza last night. Next, ¿bebiste el jugo de naranja? Did you drink the orange juice? Moving on, ella vivió en México por 2 años. She lived in Mexico for 2 years. Then, escribieron una carta muy larga. They wrote a very long letter. And finally, aprendimos mucho en esa clase. We learned a lot in that class. Did you catch the pattern there? The endings were iste, yo, ieron, and imos. Keep those locked in your mind.
Moving right along to section 2, the ER and IR twins.
Okay, I have some seriously fantastic news for you here. You might be bracing yourself right now thinking, oh great, I have to memorize 2 brand new, massive sets of verb endings. But here's the secret. ER and IR verbs, they share the exact same set of preterite endings. They are literally twins in the past tense. To form them, you just follow a beautifully simple 2-step framework. Step 1, drop the ER or IR ending from your base verb. Step 2, add the preterite ending. That's the whole shebang.
Let's actually see these mechanics in action with the verb comer, which means to eat. I'm going to say each one, and I want you to echo it right back to me out loud. Ready? Let's go. I ate, comí.
Comí.
You ate, comiste.
Now let's take the verb vivir, which means to live. Because it's an IR verb, it's going to mirror those exact same endings we just practiced. Let's do our call and response one more time. I lived, viví. Viví. You lived, viviste. Viviste. He, she, or it lived, vivió. Vivió. We lived, vivimos. Vivimos. They or you all lived, vivieron. Vivieron. And this just brilliantly illustrates our twin rule. By knowing one set, you literally get 2 for the price of 1. It just massively lowers the memorization burden for you.
Up next, section 3, spelling quirks and tricks.
Look, every language has its little exceptions. But I really don't want you to view these as annoying, difficult rules. Instead, think of them as secret cheat codes that'll make you sound exactly like a fluent native speaker. The absolutely crucial point here is the nosotros, or we, form. For ER verbs, in the present tense, we eat is comemos, spelled with an E. But in the past tense, we ate is comimos, spelled with an I. That subtle one-vowel shift is your explicit signal that the action happened in the past. Now, a quick warning for IR verbs like vivir. The we form is actually vivimos in both the present and the past. They look and sound completely identical. No way, right? So, how do you tell the difference? Well, you just look for context words in the sentence, like ayer, meaning yesterday, or hoy, meaning today.
All right, here's another incredible cheat code. When you have an ER or IR verb where the stem ends in a vowel, like leer to read, creer to believe, or oír to hear, we get a tiny spelling shift in the he or she form and the they form. The letter I magically shifts to a Y when it's sandwiched between 2 vowels. So leer becomes leyó for he or she read, and leyeron for they read. Creer becomes creyó and creyeron. Oír becomes oyó and oyeron. And look, this isn't some irregular rule designed to trick you. It literally just makes the words glide off the tongue. It makes them so much easier to pronounce.
Moving to section 4, el barquito chiquitito. Now that we've got the mechanics completely down, it is time to see these past tense verbs out in the wild. We're going to look at a really beloved Latin American children's counting song about a tiny boat stuck at sea. It's a wonderful, practical way to see all this grammar in action. Let's look at the opening lines. Listen to the rhythm here and the story it tells. Había una vez un barquito chiquito. Había una vez un barquito chiquito. Once upon a time, there was a tiny boat. Que no sabía, que no podía. Que no sabía, que no podía. That didn't know how, that couldn't. Que no podía navegar. Que no podía navegar. That couldn't sail. It perfectly sets up the drama, doesn't it? Just a tiny boat and a crew completely stuck out on the water.
So the story continues and the tension really builds as the singer counts the weeks. Pasaron una, dos, tres. Pasaron una, dos, tres. 1, 2, 3 passed. 4, 5, 6 semanas. 4, 5, 6 semanas. 4, 5, 6 weeks. Y aquel barquito, y aquel barquito. Y aquel barquito, y aquel barquito.
And that little boat, and that little boat.
Y aquel barquito navegó. Y aquel barquito navegó.
And that little boat sailed. Did you spot our past tense action verbs in there? Pasaron, they passed. And then the massive climax of the verse, navegó, it sailed.
And finally, Section 5, the magic of diminutives.
There is one final, really beautiful cultural nuance I want to pull out from that boat song. You probably noticed the word chiquitito. Well, that actually comes from the base word chico, which means small. In Spanish, when you add ito or ita to the end of a word, it's called a diminutive. So chico becomes chiquitito, tiny. Barco becomes barquito, little boat. Hijo means child, and that becomes hijito, little child. Corazón means heart, and becomes corazoncito, little heart. Now, what's truly magical about this is that in the Hispanic world, these endings are not just about physical size. They deeply express warmth, affection, and endearment. When a grandmother calls you hijito or corazoncito, she isn't making a comment on your height. She is telling you that she loves you. It's a real game changer for sounding natural.
Which brings us to our final question for today. ¿Qué historia escribirás tú? ¿Qué historia escribirás tú? What story will you write? You see, today you completely unlocked the past tense for ER and IR verbs, and in doing so, you've completely transformed your conversational toolkit. You know the twin rule, you know the pronunciation cheat codes, and you even know how to add a little affection with diminutives. You have the tools now, so go out there and tell someone what you ate, where you lived, or what you learned. The past is yours to share. Thanks for hanging out with me on The Explainer today, and keep practicing.